Welcome to another year of post-celebration reflections, New Year's resolutions, and, if we're honest, a few broken promises along the way. If it's not already clear, I'm Ripon Ray, your host, and today's episode is all about January financial planning and how money quietly connects to so many of the biggest promises we make to ourselves at the start of the year. While today's discussion is rooted in money and debt, we are also exploring the wider resolutions many of us make in January. Promises to get fitter, to drink less, and to get our lives back on track after the festive season. We begin the year with the best intentions, but somewhere between optimism and reality, many of those commitments begin to slip. To help us stay on track, yes, on track, we hopefully avoid breaking some of our most common resolutions. I'm joined by an excellent panel of experts. Shakira Taylor, a fitness instructor who works on the front line supporting people to get active and stay motivated. Joe Marley from Alcohol Change, who will be talking to us about dry January, alcohol habits and well-being. And finally, Nick Hill from the Money and Pension Service, who will help us connect the dots between healthy habits and healthy finances. So together, my panel will help us tackle two of the most common New Year's resolutions: staying fit and healthy and reducing or giving up alcohol beyond January 2026. We all know that gym membership soar in January, often motivated by extra pounds we've accumulated over Christmas, alongside the determination to stick to dry January. I'll be honest, I'm doing dry January myself. After a bit of overindulgence during Christmas and New Year's celebrations, I'm hoping to give my body a reset, maybe even get my skin back into top shape. Let me start with Shakira Taylor, our fitness instructor. Shakira, it's well known that gym memberships spike in January. You're at the front line supporting people who want to lose weight and feel healthier. In fact, when I visited my own gym, I've noticed a quadruple increase in membership. What do you think really drives people to join a gym or hire a personal trainer straight after the new year?
Okay, so I would say it's not just gyms that get busy at this time of the year, because the way that we all train now with online and coaching and also like community classes, I want to give them a big up. I don't teach in the community anymore, but I think it's really important that people go back into their community classes as well, because it's a part of your well-being and connection. So we do see a rise in January. I personally try to encourage people to be taking their fitness serious throughout the whole year, and I just feel that January is probably the worst time to start a new fitness journey. I know that's not like what you'd expect from a fitness from a personal trainer and a coach, but I've been in the industry over 14 years now, and I've been on my own turbulent journey throughout my 20s, 30s, and now into my 40s. I've nailed it, but I've been on my own journey, and I just reflecting back when I started, before I was a qualified PT and qualified coach, I'd always go, new year, new me. The pressure comes on, and unfortunately we're still in the Western society being sold that narrative that it's a new year, new me, but I don't actually see January as the right time to start. I mean, look at the window today. I'm in North London. It is grey. There's not been one bit of sun today. It's miserable. Why, after having so many celebrations at Christmas and New Year, on the 1st of January when it's even colder and you've got no money, you're going to say, right, this is it now. I'm going to change everything in my life and I'm going to join the gym. You go to the gym, it's absolutely ram-packed. You can't even get on equipment. But big up everyone that is in the gym in January. I love to see it. But this is where we see a lot of people fall down, and their first hurdle, I would say, is that they throw themselves into a new routine regime that sometimes is very restrictive and very strict. You've come off the back of, most people are celebrating Christmas the whole of December, let's be honest. So maybe you're starting to fall into habits that I don't want to say bad habits, but maybe you've fallen into habits that don't necessarily serve you. And then you're putting all this pressure when it's freezing cold, if you're here in the UK, to go to the gym 5 times a week when before you were sitting down every single day. I'm just being honest, this is what happens. So typically I do see numbers increase, which is great. But what I guess, without being dramatic, breaks my heart is seeing people drop off come end of January, Pancake Day, Valentine's Day. That's when I see the gym. But I don't know what it is about Valentine's Day that week, and sometimes it falls in the half-term week as well if you've got kids. That week generally is when we start to see like gyms and numbers start to decline. So I get why people want to embrace it in the new year, and I definitely encourage it, but I would just say try not to take on too much at that new year, new me, and don't feel the pressure. I say new year, same me, just with improved habits. Don't feel like you need to dramatically change everything, because it's hard. It's crappy weather. You probably got weeks to go until you get paid. You've overspent, you've overeaten, and then you're going to put all this pressure on yourself to, I'm going to walk, I'm going to run, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to be in bed by 9 o'clock, I'm going to be up by 5 o'clock. Like all of these different things that we layer in, it puts so much pressure on people. And then the worst case I see is that people don't end up coming back because they've put all that pressure on themselves. Then they start going through the guilt trip and then all the other things that layer in, which is just life. And then they feel demotivated. Even though we'll talk about motivation afterwards, they feel demotivated and then they drop off their journey. So hopefully it's great to be back in the gym in January, but just don't put yourself under too much pressure.
Do you actually see many repeated offenders, like people who set the same resolution every year and struggle to stick with it? Or are you noticing a shift in mindset where people are coming in with a deep motivation or a change in life outlook?
I guess I don't want to call them repeat offenders because I don't want to offend anyone. But yeah, we do see people setting the same New Year's resolutions. But I'm glad you said it's about mindset. It's about having that shift in the approach to your health and your well-being, and understanding that a new month or a Monday isn't going to change anything. If you don't work out what your lifestyle habits are in comparison to what goals that you're trying to achieve, that's where the mismatch comes. You need to make sure, and I say to people, you have to have a really honest conversation with yourself. The amount of honest conversations I have with myself all the time, even as a PT, everyone's like, oh, you must jump up every day and like somersault into my workout gear and run to the gym, as if there's days when I wake up and I'm like, it's cold outside. Oh, I don't want to go. Oh, this, that, and the other. So we all go through that process. But when you have that real honest conversation with yourself and work out, actually, is it weight loss? Is it weight gain? Is it strength? Is it improving my cardio? Is it making sure that when I'm 80, I can get off the toilet and I don't need any assistance? That is one of the best goals to have, I think. Once you realize what your goals are, then you can look at what your habits are that are going to lead you there. And you have to be honest with yourself and honest with those around you. I think definitely accountability helps, whether it's you do use professional, whether it's a personal trainer, a coach. I'm not selling my services, but I am available. But no, I'm joking. If there's like I said, go into community classes, because then you meet people, when you find people that are on the same goals, or whether it's just calling up your friends and saying, right, I know you've heard this before, but this year, these are my goals. Please just check in on me and say, how's it going? Are you still going? What's going on in your life? That accountability really does help. And it can come in so many work colleagues as well. There, we spend a lot of time at work, don't we? And these people get to know us. So even checking in with your work colleague as well, that really is beneficial, so that you can, I know you mentioned about repeat offenders, but we want to try and break that cycle of where we relapse in those changes that we make. I know that seems an extreme word to use, but when you look at how we create habits, how we change the habits that we have and how we maintain them, a lot of the time when you go through the steps, it's the relapse and the maintenance where people really struggle. And a lot of the time it's just a simple tweak that we haven't put in place that gets us back to, oh no, okay, let me wait till Monday, let me wait till January to make that change.
Do you notice behavioral differences between men and women when it comes to fitness goals?
Yeah, definitely. And I think because, sorry, big up the ladies, big up the women. I'm here all day for supporting the women. Sorry, guys, as I'm the only female on the chat today. But we're definitely seeing a change. Women now, like I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 81, and I come from that generation of women that we've been on every diet, Special K, Slimming World, Weight Watchers. I've done cabbage soup. I've done an apple diet. I've done all the extremes because we were sold that message that women need to be small. Small is good. Skinny is good. But we've definitely seen a shift over the last few years that women in particular want to take up space. Like in my gym, I train in a group gym. And probably I would say I train there, but I don't work there. So it's just where I train myself. And say if you've got 20 people in the gym, I mean, I wish there was only ever 20 people in the gym, but just roughly, if there was 20 people in the gym, I'd say about 14 of them are women. And I go in and I'm like, yes. And they're not just on the cardio machines. They're in the weights area. They're at the squat rack. They're doing their deadlifts. They are picking up weights. They are taking up space. Equally, which is great to see as well, I'm now seeing men using more of the cardio machines. I mean, they're hogging up the Stairmaster now, so I'm not happy about that. But we're seeing like goals are changing. You know, typically it was men went in to lift weight and they wouldn't even dare break a sweat, as in terms of like getting their heart rate up. But we are seeing that shift now. And we're also seeing, you know, men and women in a legs, bums and tums class. It's not just women that are taking part. So it's really changing. And I'm happy to see that. Obviously, there is still some way to go with, in particular, the marketing that is put towards women. And my demographic is menopausal women, so we call it meno washing at the moment. That's a whole other podcast, but yeah, there's a lot going on in that space that I'm trying to change as well. But we are definitely seeing a shift, and it's a positive shift as well. And we're seeing a shift with younger people really embracing, and I'm sure Joe will have a lot to say on that as well, like really embracing health and well-being and understanding it from a very young age, which for me is exciting to see as well.
And at what point, though, do you usually notice people starting to lose momentum? Since we are talking about post-New Year, you know.
Well, yeah. If we stick with the New Year, New Me theme, like I said, probably like mid-February, around, I don't know what it is about Valentine's Day, because I personally don't celebrate it, but maybe because like the wealth of chocolate that's being sold to us around that week. But I normally see people dropping off 4 to 6 weeks after they've started something new. But I would say that is because they've put too much pressure on themselves. So they haven't just joined the gym. They've possibly gone on like a really restrictive diet. They've completely tried to change the way they eat, the way they drink, not just, you know, alcohol, just anything. And they've probably decided that I need to walk every single day, and I'm going to change my bedtime, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and it's too many things you're trying to change all at once. So then I see people getting frustrated because they don't see results, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to sack it off. And yeah, then like I said, we get caught in that cycle of relapsing with our goals, and then the real work comes with the maintenance stage. That's where people have to really start to dig deep.
In terms of digging deep beyond the structure in which they put themselves under pressure, how much money play a role?
I do think money does play a role, but I guess I get a little bit, I'm going to be, so I just keep it real. I get a bit annoyed when people use money as a barrier, because I know we all have different barriers, but actually there's so many free resources now when it comes to moving your body. You don't have to join a gym, and a gym isn't the right environment for everyone, and I totally understand that. I'd like to change that because I do think gym brings so many benefits to people, but I don't think you can use, and everyone's an individual, I don't like to see people using money as the barrier, because if anything, it's more of your time that is the investment when it comes to your health and well-being. I just think if we can find money for, I won't say subscription services, I don't want to say a particular one, I don't want to get in trouble. If we can find finances for, subscription services, a cheeky takeaway, a this, that and the other, really gym memberships now are probably the cheapest we're ever going to see, because they are set to rise again. So I don't think you can quantify, I guess, that a gym membership versus other expenses. There's other areas where you can look at your financial well-being, and we had this chat that I do encourage people to think about their financial well-being along with their health and their overall well-being, because it all works hand in hand. So I mean, people do say it is a barrier, but I just don't think it's a justified barrier, because there's so much free resources out there now, and you don't have to pay to go for a walk.
Lovely. Now, finally, Shakira, just to kind of go through a recap, how do you manage expectation, redefine success, and keep people motivated so they don't give up on their fitness journey altogether?
I deliver tough love. I'm going to be honest. So I'm not everyone's cup of tea, as they say, or I'd be a mug. But I'm not everyone's favorite when it comes to a PT. But in terms of like the word motivation that you used, motivation is actually a bit of a myth. If you're waiting all the time to feel motivated, so I'm going to feel motivated on Monday, that's like, it's not going to happen. It's about the consistency and discipline that you have to implement. So like I said at the beginning, you have to have that honest, and sometimes it's a bit of a harsh conversation you have to have with yourself. When I take on clients, I tell them straight away, I'm not there to motivate them. I'm there to encourage them, to educate them, and to empower them to make the right choices if they want to make that choice. In an ideal world, I like to train people for a period of time, and I get them to the stage where they're like, you were great, but I actually don't need you anymore, because now I know what I need to do. I've got to the point where I enjoy the majority of it. Let's be realistic. Not everything you do on your health and well-being journey you're going to enjoy, but you're going to enjoy the benefits, the long-term benefits of it. So I would say to people, like, if you're waiting for motivation, forget it. You've got to get on. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to be consistent and start small, and then you can grow from there. And it does, believe it or not, it does become easier.
Lovely, Shakira. We'll definitely come back to you later. So let me now move on to Joe Marley from Alcohol Change. Joe, as I mentioned earlier, I'm actually doing dry January myself, and honestly, it sometimes feels like my throat is dry even without a drop of alcohol in my system. I'm doing it to cleanse my body and try to treat itself like a temple. Why do so many people across Britain consider dry January as part of their New Year's resolution?
Good to be here. Good to chat with you. I think this time of year is, as we've just been talking about, is a time for resolutions. Now, whether you believe in resolutions or not, I think it's the start of a year. People want to think about what's coming up for them for the year. And obviously health, well-being, savings is massive in thinking about just psychologically the switch from the previous year into the next. So there is something really specific about the Dry January challenge being right here at the start of the year. And actually what we do at Alcohol Change UK is we ask people through polling every year about what's motivating them to give up alcohol in January, and then also longer term through the year as well. And everything is very personal, isn't it, to each of us as to what really matters. And we hear different things coming through this year, particularly saving money is one of the biggest motivations for people. But people's health, fitness, general well-being come up there really highly, and also mental health and well-being I think is sometimes overlooked, that actually just the role that alcohol is playing in our day-to-day lives, the relationships that we have with other people. So yeah, there are so many different reasons why people might be trying to start the year without alcohol. But the difference of the Dry January challenge is that it's a kind of 31-day reset at the start of the year. And if you take part using the tools and resources from Alcohol Change UK, it's that guided time to give you more of the tools to be successful, not just in January, but throughout the year.
I mean, speaking of challenges that you mentioned, what are the most common challenges people face when they suddenly stop drinking?
Yeah, I think, again, it's very personal for individuals. And I would say that none of us at Alcohol Change UK underestimate how difficult it can be to change some of those relationships with alcohol that you might have. Each of us is different. One of the things that people discover is kind of the realization that alcohol might be playing a bigger role in their lives than they thought. And actually, if you're someone who's maybe thinking, oh, Dry January challenge, that's not really for me, or I don't think I could do it, it probably is just the thing that you should be doing or could be considering doing, because the realization of, oh yeah, actually it's creeping up, the amount that I'm drinking is creeping up, or it's become more fundamental to when I'm out and about, I have to have an alcoholic drink in order to fit in or feel like I can relate to people. That's sometimes one of the biggest realizations, and that can be challenging to actually come to terms with the role that alcohol is playing in your life. I would also say that one of the other biggest challenges is the world that we live in. We live in a world where alcohol advertising and advertising for lots of other products, but alcohol advertising is absolutely everywhere, even in January. So it should be really easy for any of us to decide that we don't want to drink alcohol, but big companies, big corporations make it very, very difficult to get away from it. And alcohol is there when we celebrate, when we commiserate. It's tied to all those kind of life moments every minute of the day. So I think that's a challenge that people notice when you start the Dry January challenge and you're thinking about the role that alcohol is playing in your life, just to see that showing up day to day. And also then just the practical impact on people's bodies. I think in that first week, if you've been drinking beforehand, it can be difficult just making that change and getting used to not having alcohol in your system. But that's again where that kind of guided approach comes through to support you through the first days of January and beyond.
Speaking of bodies that you mentioned, from a biological or psychological perspective, what actually happens to the brain and body when someone gives up alcohol abruptly?
Yeah, so I think the first thing before we go any further into it, there's probably something to be really aware of, that for a very small group of people who might be drinking at very, very high levels, very regularly, there's a risk of alcohol withdrawal if you just stop completely straight away. So for those people where withdrawal might be a problem, which can be very dangerous, doing something like the Dry January challenge, stopping abruptly at another time of the year isn't advised. And withdrawal can look like different things to different people, but it can mean things like sweaty palms, feeling tremors or shaky hands. And there's a whole list of symptoms on our website as well. The good news is that even for people within that group, you can get help with withdrawing from alcohol, but it's best to talk to your GP to start with. For millions more people who are drinking still at higher levels than the guidelines, it's perfectly safe to do the Dry January challenge and to stop drinking, but you might feel some of the effects, but it's not withdrawal effects. Yeah, so for those people, alcohol is leaving your body over the first few days. You'll probably notice the not having a hangover is one of the first things straight away. And then over those first few days, alcohol is leaving your body. You might start to feel some of those less positive side effects, like feeling thirsty, irritable, struggling to sleep at first, but then quickly the benefits are going to come through differently for different people. But then starting to feel maybe some of the brain fog lifting, starting to feel a little bit more alert, starting to feel more rehydrated if you're drinking more water and less alcohol. So yeah, those benefits come through at different points in the month, and they're different for each person.
Based on your research and your work, what trends are you seeing around drinking habits in the UK?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about this at the moment about young people particularly drinking less, and that is true. That is a trend that's coming through, that on the whole, younger generations are drinking less than middle-aged and older groups. It's a quite complicated picture, and we could spend a whole episode talking about the different statistics in different groups. But that is one of the trends that we're seeing. Certainly, I think the number of people who are in those kind of middle-aged and older groups who are drinking at risky levels is quite high. But for young people, for example, although they're drinking less on the whole, there's still a high number who are drinking a very large number of alcohol units in one go. So what we might call binge drinking, but on the whole for the group, the amount that's being drunk is lower. So yeah, older age groups now the most likely to drink above the guidelines, less likely to be making changes to their habits. So that's something that's really important to us, is to make sure that no one feels like the Dry January challenge or getting help with what they're drinking is not for them. Actually really thinking about the impact that alcohol's having personally on their lives. That should be the motivation for starting to take some action.
I mean, speaking of on their life, what does a healthy relationship with alcohol or life without alcohol really look like?
I don't want to be the one to kind of prescribe what one healthy relationship with alcohol looks like. I think we can look for different things that feels healthier to us, knowing that alcohol itself is not healthy, but we can keep a lower risk relationship with alcohol by keeping under those 14 units is the recommended. But whether it's actually having longer term periods of being completely alcohol free, or really setting an intention about what you're drinking when it comes to alcohol, it looks different for different people. I think that's where the Dry January challenge is helpful, because doing that work at the start of the year, having that reset, and then thinking with the 1st of February in mind, what is my goal longer term? What would I like to do? Would I like to extend this break a bit longer because I've been feeling some benefits from it? Would I like to drink 50% less than I was before I started the Dry January challenge, but I'm going to make sure I've got a tool that helps me track that so I can feel accountable to it, kind of building on what Shakira said, making sure you set yourself up for success and you've got the structures and the support around you to meet a goal that's realistic. But it can look different for different people. But I think that the key thing is drinking less and reducing how much we drink will have a benefit to our health and our well-being, and support us in lots of different ways.
Within the context of alcohol, where does money come into play in this picture?
Yeah, money is a massive one. And I think sometimes money is the thing that people can recognize quite instantly about their relationship with alcohol, because at the end of the day, we have to pay for whatever it is that we're going to drink, whether it's in the bar or at a supermarket. So we did some research at Alcohol Change UK, which showed that the average drinker spends more than £60,000 on alcohol over their lifetime. Now, that's money that obviously, however you want to spend it or save it, could be used to do something else. And again, I'm not going to tell people what they should or shouldn't be doing with their money, but I think it comes back to, like, what role do you want alcohol to have in your life? What's really important to you? Is it friends and family, hobbies, interests, travel, saving, a big chunk off the mortgage? All those things are really valid things, but I think we don't often think about how it adds up when it comes to alcohol. And actually, just to bring it back to the Dry January challenge, so we have our Try Dry app, which we encourage people to use to track how much they're drinking throughout the year, and also to track their progress through the Dry January challenge. And people save money, obviously, through the Dry January challenge on not spending on alcohol, and last year saved on average £118. So that's just in that month for January. And again, that's money that you could go out. If you want to still go to the pub, great, but enjoy an alcohol-free option, or go out and enjoy a meal with friends, or put it to one side. The choice is yours, but be more intentional with what it is you're going to spend your money on.
Lovely. Thank you, Joe. That brings me neatly to Nick Hill, who joins me from Money and Pension Service. A new year is often a time to look ahead. Nick, when it comes to personal finance, what is a good starting point for saving?
Well, I think Shakira hit the nail on the head when she said start small. I think it's really common for us to see people set those unrealistic New Year's resolutions, which we all have been guilty of at some point. And so really the message is little and often. You're trying to build this habit of saving. You're trying to build up that momentum, that snowball effect. So start with an amount which is really easy for you to achieve, and then you can keep reviewing it and increasing it as time goes on. And there's various little tricks you can use. Maybe it's the pocket change in your pocket for those who still use change, and putting it in a jar. Maybe it's setting up that standing order so you don't have to think about it and the money's just slowly ticking up over time. It's going straight into a savings account. Or if you are stopping drinking, maybe a small portion of that you can allocate to be putting into savings. But starting small and building up is the way forward.
We talked about fitness goals, health goals, and lifestyle changes. Why are financial goals just as important?
Well, there's two main points here. achieving your financial goals is going to help you achieve your other goals. Most other goals are going to involve some sort of spending, whether it's signing up for an ambitious sporting event in the future, or even just getting the bus ride down to a community sporting event. So hitting those financial goals is going to give you more options. But as we've talked about, we don't want you to be getting derailed from achieving those goals. And we know that everyone has unexpected costs which come up. Maybe it's replacing a tyre on a car, maybe it's repairing the boiler. And so building up that savings buffer, it's going to mean that you're going to be able to respond to those rather than derailing what your core goals are. So it really underpins that ability to have those plan and shoot for having those nice family days out, eating healthier food, and just generally getting fitter. So I really think it really helps underpin all of our financial goals. And as we all know, and I know Shakira will double on this, which is if you name that goal, make it really real, you're more likely to achieve it. We know naming it might be in your savings account. You actually put their name. It's a Lanzarote holiday fund or a triathlon event in Lanzarote. It just gives you that very specific goal and you're less likely to dip in there.
How can people balance short-term goals with long-term planning, especially when money already feels stretched?
Absolutely. And we have to get back to basics here, really. And it's really important to get your budget done. Doing a budget helps you go line item by line item in terms of where that money's going, how much you have left at the end of the month. Maybe when you're doing it, you spot, oh, I've not actually changed that broadband supplier recently or insurance provider, and you were able to switch and lower those bills. But once you've got a clear budget, you're able to then set realistic savings goals, both in the short term and in the long term. And you can use the free budget planner on Money Helper website. But long-term goals aren't just about saving money. It's also about securing your own situation and the people, family and friends around you. And part of that is about thinking about things like putting a will in place, putting a power of attorney in place. So it doesn't all have to be just about that extra bit of saving. There are other ways to help protect yourself from big financial events in the future.
In terms of big financial events in the future, many young people struggle to think about those big events like pensions or long-term savings. What systems, I know you mentioned one or two here, what systems or tools exist to support this kind of saving without making it feel overwhelming or let alone boring?
It can feel overwhelming, and it's quite alarming that our research shows that 1 in 3 young workers have never contributed to a pension. They're missing out on free cash. So here are a few ways to help get people motivated towards shooting for those longer term savings. So what I call the free money rule. If you've got workplace pension, your employer must be paying in alongside it in general. So if you're not doing it, if you're opting out, you're turning down a pay rise. So it does happen automatically. So do go with the flow on it and start contributing to your pension. Second, be an active contributor. Have an owner's mindset when it comes to your pension. Most pension funds are going to be invested into a default fund, and that's a great safety net. But it's designed for the average person. We wouldn't all go out and buy the same size shirt, so why would you do it with your money? Think more like an owner and not a passenger. Is it got the right risk level? Is it in a high growth fund? Is it Sharia compliant? Does it meet my values? Engage with the pension, figure out how best to make it work hard for you. And if you need help to work out how much your company should be contributing, you can use the pension calculator on moneyhelper.org.uk for free.
There's often a financial hangover. Yes, hangover after Christmas and New Year. Do you see a cycle of borrowing before Christmas and people seeking debt advice in January?
Yes. I mean, our research has really shown us that 1 in 4 people plan to borrow money for religious and festive events. And so we really do see patterns of increased spending and the use of credit in the run up to Christmas. So it's really common for people to feel financial pressure in January. But the story is a bit more complex than that. People delay seeking debt advice for between 6 and 18 months from the day they first realise they need help. That means some people are only just starting to engage and try and seek help from the previous Christmas. And the reason that's occurring is because people feel embarrassed about being in debt. They fear they're going to seek free help. They're going to lose control of their money. But it's really important for anybody who's struggling with debt to know that they're not alone. There is free, confidential debt advice available. And the people you speak to on those calls will never judge. They're not going to take any action until they've got your agreement. And so by engaging with, why pick up the phone, going and have a chat with an expert, you can gain clarity of your situation and not lose control. So you can use the free debt advice locator tool on the Money Help website. It's free and partial, and it'll help you find lots of different options for support.
Just to kind of sum up the whole thing, Nick, what tools and services are available to help people save and regain control of their finances?
Well, I'm pleased to, like also as Shakira said, there's lots of free tools and services available. So my starting point, if you're not sure where to go to Money Helper. We're going to either give you the best tools and guidance for free. There's no money to be made there for us. Or we're going to signpost you to the very best organizations and tools out there in the market which are able to help you. Or you can even speak to some of our experts on the phone, email, or web chat. So do reach out and get that help today.
Lovely. For those who are listening to Debt Talk podcast and want to share your own experiences, you can contact me direct, Ripon at debttalk.org. Before we close, let's return to our wonderful panel of experts for some top tips on staying healthy and financially, physically, and mentally in 2026. Let me start with Shakira from Fitness with Shakira. Your top tips, please.
So hard. I've only got to give one. Actually, no, you know what my top tip is? Everyone listening today, grab your diary. A good old fashioned paper diary. I am old school like that. If you've got to use an electronic one, so be it. But commit the time, because like I said about hurdles and the maintenance stage, if you actually plan out your day, your week, your month with all the things that we've been talking about, not just your fitness, just with your financial well-being, whether you're doing a challenge, whatever it is, plan it out and commit the time. And like I said about be honest with yourself, find those windows of opportunity when you can move, when you might need to talk to your partner or whoever you live with and say, you know, I need that 10 minutes, I need that half an hour, I need that 45 minutes, whatever it is that I'm going to go to the gym, go for a walk, community class, run, hike, go to Lanzarote on a triathlon, because I think that's what Nick's got coming up. But really, once you actually visualize it and commit the time, I firmly believe that's a game changer, and it will help you going forward with all the goals that you start to set out and the habits that you're trying to create.
Lovely. Now, Joe Marley from Alcohol Change, your advice, please.
Well, I'm going to break with Shakira's paper diary, and I'm going to recommend a digital tool. Sorry, Shakira, as much as I like writing things down. I've got to obviously mention the Try Dry app from Alcohol Change UK. So I promise it's very simple to use. So if you download it, it's absolutely free. There's no advertising, there's no pop-ups. It's completely free, that we created as part of our work as a UK charity. So it's completely independent. Not only is it going to give you insights into your drinking as it stands right now, but it's going to help you find the right goal for you, whether that's to take part in the Dry January Challenge, to set a kind of reducer goal, to just reduce over time, or a longer term period of being alcohol free, and then keep you motivated as well. So within there, loads of alcohol free missions to get out and about, try things where alcohol isn't the center of attention, whether that's going out on a date without alcohol, seeing live sport without alcohol. So yeah, give it a go. Even if you think it's not quite the right one for you, you might be surprised by what you find in the Try Dry app. So yeah, search your app store for that, and you can find out more on our website, alcoholchange.org.uk.
Lovely. And finally, from Nick Hall from Money and Pension Service.
I'd say start that money conversation. It might be with a friend, somebody you trust, or maybe you call an organisation like Money Help to have that money conversation. Getting others involved in it will help you think through the consequences. It'll help you think through, maybe they can support you in doing a savings challenge. So do start having those money conversations with friends and family you trust, and ask for their support and help.
Thank you, Shakira and Joe and Nick. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to my guests really for their valuable time to support communities as we move from the festive season into 2026. My next podcast will explore, as Shakira mentioned, the Valentine's Day, but also the cost of love beyond Valentine's Day. Thank you for listening to Debt Talk with Ripon Ray. Until next time.